project, we're going to be using mic 6. Now this is a slab of 1 inch thick, 8 3/8 by 24 5/8 slab of mic 6. This is going to be for the base. So we'll have our clamp mounted like so onto the base, and then we'll have our vise stop or backstop for our vise mounted like so. So this is the first piece we're going to work on. I'm going to cut this stock in half, and then I'm just going to manually machine the edges and clean those up, because we're not going to be doing any outside machining except for maybe the radius on the piece here. Now, the gentleman that shared his plans with me, he used castings that he made from scrap material, which is a great idea. However, you got to have a pretty good size furnace and crucible in order to cast a part this big, and that's a pretty large investment. So I'm only going to be building 1 or 2 of these. This slab right here will give me 2 pieces, but this is the material that I could find at a reasonable price. Aluminum is really expensive nowadays, and if you can find these little pieces of scrap here and there, you can really save some money. So that's what I did. So I'm going to get this prepared, and then we're going to take it over to the Precision Matthew, and we'll do all the machining. Well, that's about as far as she'll go. This is about a 8 3/8 thick, so hopefully on the flip here we'll be able to cut right through that, and then we'll clean the edges off on the mill. Okay, well, you can see this saw does a pretty good job. I mean, being a portable saw, it says it's a 4-inch saw, but I'm really impressed. It cuts pretty square. There's just a little, it's off just a lot, maybe the half the thickness of a saw blade there. I don't guess. So I've got this cut to length here. Right now it's about a little over 12 1/8 and 8 3/8. I'm going to take it over to the mill, and we're going to put its limits to the test, and we're just going to clean up all these edges. Alright, you can see, well, we've got it in here. We've got a little clearance, just enough to do this. There's about 12 3/4 inch clearance under the tool with the material sitting on the vise. I've got the stock sitting in here as vertical as possible. We're going to have to work around the ATC here. Probably have to flip this around or something to get that. Alright, so because I couldn't get the full travel, so what I did was the first side I went this far, then I was able to put that in the vise and seat it and do the bottom edge on both sides, and then now I'm finishing up this top edge. Alright, we got the 2 pieces cleaned up. They turned out nice. You can kind of see how it's going to go together there. That will give me like 3 inches of space here to put the molds in. 1.5 inch thick molds. I think that should be plenty for the stuff I'm going to be doing. Alright, so now we're going to just take it into the mill, and we'll do the first op, which will be the bottom, and then we'll flip it over and do the second op. Alright guys, before we get started today, it's always a good idea to every so often check your probe, make sure it's concentric, and so that's what I'm doing today just before I get started, and it was off just a little bit. This here is a 0.01 millimeter indicator here. and just checking it here. Move the spindle around. You can see I've got just a little bit deflection there on the needle, and I've messed with it for a few minutes here, and that's about as good as I'm going to get it, and I'm happy with that. So now we're just going to find our zero for our part here and get started. Okay guys, so I'm trying to set up my part and find my zeros. I'm going to be using this edge for the X. We're just going to be doing 3 countersinks here for these 3 holes. And then we'll flip it over and we're going to actually do the pocket for the vice stop. But one of the situations when you're running these big large pieces is travel. Now I actually have enough travel to get around the whole outside of this. However, the way cover is in a way, and because this is up so high, the way cover is obstructing it from going far enough back to be able to actually probe this side here. So any outside machining I won't be able to do with it clamped in this configuration. Now I could clamp it to the table and then I can get up under my wave cover and I'll have plenty of travel. However, I'm just going to manually chamfer these edges. It's not that big of a deal. But what I wanted to talk about specifically was indicating the center. So I've set my zero for Y to be in the center of my part and the edge to be here on the X. So I can probe the edge, but I can't probe for the center because I'll hit my way cover. So what I did was I probed the edge back here, which I could reach, and then I took this measurement 8.3640 and I divided that in half, and that gives me 4.182. So after I probed this edge and that became my zero, I just typed in the DRO 4.182 and then re-zeroed it, and so now I am zeroed in the center here. So I should be good. I've also probed for the Z-axis and got that set to the top of the stock. So we should be ready to machine our 3 holes here and do our countersink. I've put an M1 here so that I can adjust these nozzles here so we can get some coolant down on the drill bit. Our next drill bit is 7/16 and it's not an ATC tool holder, so we're going to manually install it. That's the first op. Now we're going to flip it over, and when we flip it, we'll also round this corner on the back side and finish up all the machining. Okay guys, so I've got the stock flipped over. We're going to be machining the top side now. There's quite a bit of machining on this side. We're going to be drilling and thread milling 6 holes here for some M8s. We're going to be drilling, boring 4 holes here for some 3/4 tin all thread. for our uprights. We're going to be machining a pocket here so that our vise stop will be recessed. So quite a bit of work here to do. I'm going to be machining for the first time some 3/4 tin threads with this single point thread mill. So we'll see how it goes. Be the biggest threads I've machined so far. But let's get started. Next we're going to be drilling 6 holes for our vise locking mechanism. We drilled all the holes here for our M8 threads here, so we're going to come back. We're just going to thread mill these. Then we'll make those bigger there for our 3/4 tin. Looking good. It always just dives down in the center there. Always gives me a little bit of a nervous feeling when it does that. But I'm pretty confident in these threads. I've machined this size threads many times, so not so bad. Little zoom in on them. Looks pretty good. up is our 3/4 tin thread mill here. This is a big thread mill. It's in an ER32 collet. I only have one of these, and it was just for these such occasions where you have to have a tool that's a little bit bigger than your normal stuff. But there we go. This will be the first time doing some thread milling with this particular tool. The pucker factor will be really high here, so let's see how it goes. All right. That looks really good. Focus. Alright, I think you can see it. So the tool change macros allows me to manually change tools. It knows that this tool is not located in the carousel, so it prompts me to manually remove it. It's all part of the tool change macro. The next tool is in the carousel, so it's going to retrieve it. This is an 1/8 inch deep pocket. We're doing the full depth with a 40 thousandths width of cut here. Now we're going to do a contour operation. and try to straighten this out with a smaller end mill. Alright, next up we're going to round off those back corners right there. Well, all right. Alright, that turned out really nice. Really good threads here on both the M8 and the 3/4 10. I know you might be thinking, well, why use metric and standard? Well, I'm using just standard 3/4 10 threaded rod here, but most of all my fasteners that I use are metric, so that's why I went that route. You could do either one. Nice flat bottom pocket here. Looks good. You can see how I drilled the corner here so that I can have a nice straight line. It's hard to get a tool unless you have something real small to get in these corners here, so this way it kind of eliminates the need to do that. Alright guys, well, that's the base for the injection molding machine. In the next video we're going to work on the spacer for the clamp here and also for the vise stop. Alright guys, well that wraps up this video for the base plate for the injection molding machine. Stay tuned to the next video. We'll continue working on this project. If you're new to my channel and you're just tuning in, you can click on that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. Also click on that notification bell. That way when I post a video like this one, they'll send you a link and you can stop by and check it out. As always guys, please feel free to ask questions, make suggestions, or leave comments. Thanks for watching the video. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Please subscribe, and most importantly, be safe.